I'm Thomas Smith, and if you're like basically everybody else in the world right now, you're probably wondering, how can I save some money on gas? Gas prices are at record highs as a result of supply chain issues and also the war in Ukraine. So all of us are spending a lot at the pump and probably wondering how we can cut back. And one way to do that is to drive at the right speed, the optimum speed to maximize your fuel mileage and save the most money while getting to your destination as quickly as possible. But what is that speed? Turns out it's a relatively complex calculation to determine exactly what that speed is. So the first thing you want to look at is the average fuel economy of a typical car and how speed affects that fuel economy. Now, according to the EPA, at relatively slow speeds, it doesn't make a big difference on your fuel economy if you go a little faster or a little bit slower. The big thing there is just the amount of air that your car is having to push out of the way changes depending on your speed. So up to about 50 miles an hour, there's really not that much of a difference. Once you get over 50, the gas mileage starts to decline a little bit. So you would think, well, should I drive 50 miles an hour if I want to get the most bang for my buck? And actually, it's a little bit more complicated than that. And the reason, as Wired Magazine points out in a recent report, is that you have to look not only at the speed and the fuel economy, but also how quickly you're going to get to your destination. Because if you drive slower, then you're using less fuel per mile, but you're also going to be driving for a longer time period. So that's where things get a little bit complicated, because what you really want to be doing is maximizing the fuel economy, but still getting to your destination as quickly as possible. And it turns out that from about 50 miles an hour to 60 miles an hour, there's not that much of a decline in your fuel economy with each additional mile per hour of speed. It's really after 60 that it starts to drop off pretty dramatically. And that means that by going a little faster than 50, you can save some time and spend less time driving without a big drop in your fuel economy. But after you get to 60, the fuel economy starts to drop off, and even though you're going to get there faster, spend less time driving, you're going to burn more fuel per mile that you travel. So the end result is that the ideal speed to kind of hit that sweet spot between, again, the amount of time you're in the car and the fuel economy is 59 miles an hour, because that's the fastest speed where you're still saving some time by going a little quicker, but you're going to be at your pretty much ideal point for fuel economy for most cars. Now, there's a couple caveats to that. Obviously, don't go faster than the speed limit. Don't go faster than you can safely go based on the weather that you're in. So if you're in a situation like this and it's very foggy or wet, then you shouldn't go 60 or 59, even if technically that's the most economic speed to be going. So always obey the posted speed limits and always drive for the conditions that you're in. But if it's safe to do so, then 59 is the ideal speed to get that perfect mix. Now you might be wondering, what if I go much, much faster? What if I zip along at about 80 miles an hour, like maybe some of the muscle cars you see in this image here? And the answer for that is that you will get there faster, obviously, by going 80. You'll be violating the law, so you shouldn't do that in most places. But maybe you're in a place where the speed limit is 80. Should you go at that maximum speed? And the answer is that no, that's not the best trade-off, because again, you'll get there faster, going much faster if it's legal to do so, but you're going to be losing a lot on fuel economy. And it's pretty amazing how much the drop happens. It's basically an exponential drop once you get above 60 miles an hour. So going 80 versus going 59, you're going to be burning a lot more fuel. And the drop can be as dramatic as 5 miles per gallon for every 10 miles an hour that you accelerate above 60. So that's pretty stunning drop, and it's not gonna balance out the speed at which you get to the destination. So again, that's why the ideal speed to go to get that sweet spot between fuel economy and the time to your destination, if you can do it safely, 59 miles per hour.